2 new detectors from Nokta Macro will be released very soon in the UK. So what's it all about? It is trying to accustom to the user. Now I'm just going to give my 2 pence, but that's just my opinions. One of many other people's opinions on these detectors. Now with the release of the BT, the Light and the Ultra, it did shock me that there was another 2 detectors coming out. I can see where they're aimed to, and to be honest, I just think that they're aimed to beach hunters and people that don't want to mess with settings too much. So you've got a choice between the score, which is very, very simple. Switch on and go, great for kids really. The double score has got that advantage on performance. Now let's start with the score. It hasn't got a recovery speed. Now recovery speed is a major feature of a metal detector, because the ground changes so much and you customise the recovery speed. Not the speed that you swing, you still swing the same speed to the items in the ground. But that's not the only way you can change the recovery speed. The lower the frequency, the more sluggish, but the more deeper. And the higher the frequency, the quicker, the more nimble. So it's quicker between targets. A bit like recovery speed. But then, like the double score, if you've got the M1, the M2, the M3, so the M2, you've got that which is quicker anyway, because it'll have probably a 15 and a 20 in it, maybe a 40, who knows. I don't think it'll be the same as the Legend. So on the score 1, it'll be quicker and better at unmasking anyway in M2. On the double score, it'll be even better, because you've got the recovery speed as well. So you've still got the speed of the frequency, the faster frequency, the 40 kilohertz or 20 or whatever they've got, but then you've got the recovery as well, which does help if, just say you've got your small items, so you run M2 for small items, but then you can decrease the recovery to claim back that depth that you're losing with the higher frequencies, because they don't transmit through the ground as far as the lower frequencies. So you got your M1, your M2 and your M3. M1 is mid-range, and my preferred. M2 I use on ploughed, better in iron, faster, nimble, better for smaller, shallower targets, and even deeper, smaller targets than say M3. M3 is most stable, good in trashy areas, good at coin shooting in trashy areas, because it won't hit the tinfoil, the smaller conductor, as much as the bigger conductors. More stable in wet conditions and with halo effects and metal leaching into the ground. M1 is just, it's great all-rounder, it really is. It's a bit like a general mode, I'd say, because I use the Manticore. It's a bit like a general mode. So they've still got all them features in. Now, did I hear Dilek say that there's an M4 as well? I can't remember. I did watch it last night while I was editing it. And that M4, which if it is, this is going to the Legend, which people call in the Beast mode, which isn't Beast mode, it's just an M4 mode, but it doesn't sound as good. It's going to be really low frequencies. It's going to be a relic mode. It'll be a relic mode. A more normalised name, which will be just low frequencies running simultaneously, which will pick up bigger, deeper items, and will be great, really good in picking up coins in trashy parks. Now, on the score, the ground suppressor, I've used a ground suppressor on both the Legend and the Ultra, and in our fields, that is a major feature, and it's good to see it on the first score, and that will prove brilliant. Now, with the scale of the tones, which runs from 0 to 60, there's a bit of give and take. It'll be more stable on ID, but the customizability of discrimination, notching, you won't be able to fine tune it as much as you would have been able to with a 0 to 99, like on the Ultra. Now, maybe Nokta might be having trouble with multi-frequency on a larger scale, or they might just prefer the stability of the VDI, which a lot of people, for some strange reason, do go off VDI over tone. And that's if you use, I suppose, if you use notch discrimination, which I don't personally use. I use tone breaks, or multi-tone is my preferred usage, because I use audio over anything. But there is some discrimination patterns there, more so. I think the ground on ferrous off is on the score, and then the double score you've got customizability, and you've actually got some profiles as well for saving on a double score over the single score. It is a strange one. It must be a marketing thing, as the Nokta brought out the Lite, the BT and the Ultra, and then there was pointers of putting other frequencies. I did send over some pointers because I was testing the Ultra before it got released for Nokta, and I did say about maybe banging in a lower frequency, a 5, and then a higher frequency like a 40 or a 20 each side of the 15, and this would have made it better on the beach. On the wet sand, the Simplex and the Ultra, I would never use on the wet sand. I'd always use a multi-frequency detector, and this is where the score and the double score come in. So if the Ultra was running a 5, that would have been great on the beach. The main reason why you should be thinking of getting these two detectors is if you're detecting on the beach, because multi-frequency is a lot better than single on the beach. So that's great from Nokta there, being able to provide a multi-frequency waterproof. Don't forget waterproof. We've got the Vanquish, you see, which is great, but it's not waterproof, and you've got to use batteries. So this is rechargeable, will last ages, and you save a lot of money on batteries. So that is the pros over the other multi-frequency detectors in that range. And we could forget the HISTORYREVISITEDUK Pro, because that's not multi-frequency. So it will be the Vanquish series. So it has picked the Vanquish on the beach on paper, because it's waterproof, and you've got the multi, and you've got quite a bigger coil as well. I think it's 12.5 or 12 by 9.5 or something like that. Now for me, I don't do the beach much, so it doesn't entertain me. And I've also got the MINELAB, the Manticore and the Legend, so that's another reason. Just say I didn't have the MINELAB, the Manticore or the Legend, I would stay with the Simplex Ultra, because I don't do the beach much. I don't live near the coast. It is actually quite full of settings compared to the score and the double score. There's a lot more to it, as in tone breaks, tone levels. You can change the customization of the tones. The score and the double score mostly because of the IF, it has got the IF on there, will be better than the Ultra on land in iron at unmasking, because unmasking, you need an iron filter to unmask. That's what it's there for. You can drop the tone break a little bit, but you'll never beat multi-frequency detector at unmasking in iron with a single frequency. It's just what happened. Running more frequencies gives the detector more information about the metal. So if you've got iron, ferrous and non-ferrous, it knows what's ferrous, it knows what's non-ferrous. With a single frequency, it's sitting it with the same frequency, so it's not going to distinguish, get as much information as multiple frequencies hitting them items. So it looks like a good addition to the Nokta lineup. I actually do know that there is something else coming from Nokta, which will be even better than all the lineup they've got for beach detecting, and that's going to be interesting. That is something that I will be interested in using. So yeah, that's just my quick going over of the major differences between the detectors.